Ready, set, bet.
Don't.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
Board games.
And
board gamey things.
Exactly. Today's video is all about the funnest games ever, according to Foster the Meeple. An objective list that nobody can deny.
Dispute.
Exactly.
The funniest thing is, whenever Jamie does these lists, she adds like 50 games, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. We're gonna do a 2-hour video."
No. Here's how these lists work. I make the list. I do a preliminary list, and then we sit together, and I say, Jeff, just say yes or no.
And then here's the thing: I'll say yes or no, and she'll be like, "Well, I don't agree."
No, that happens maybe like out of a list.
Does it happen? Yes or no? This is not a gray area. It's yes or no.
It maybe happens like once. Anyways, these are the games that we think are the funnest games that we've ever played. Now, obviously,
Define funnest.
We have fun while we play them.
With the people around the table.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
Everyone's collectively having a good time.
Everybody's having a good time. These
Laughing.
games just evoke fun and a good time. Now, you may have played some of these games,
and
you may not have had a good time.
And this also doesn't mean, if a game's not on the list, that it's not that.
That's true.
So, calm down, comment section.
This is just how the games that we have fun with. Okay.
Yep.
Now we do have a list of 20, and we are going to go through them pretty quickly. We'll say like a couple of words about them and why we think they're fun.
I will. Jamie will.
What do you mean?
You'll go on about it.
No. Usually it's like Jeff's like, let me explain the entirety of this game to you.
That is so objectively false.
Let me explain. Can't stop from start to finish.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
Oh my god.
You do. Here we go. Now, the first game on the list should come as quite literally no surprise. I actually think this might be one of the absolute funnest games in the world. And that is Fuji Flash. Now, Fuji Flash is a quick card game. We bring it to every convention where you are basically playing out cards and you are trying to get rid of all of your cards. And then if you don't, and if people flush you with higher cards. It's a great time. Going around the table, you're having the best time of your life. This game, like many, but specifically this game, is very group dependent.
Yes.
We have heard horror stories about people who have played this game quietly.
Yeah. So weird.
Silently?
Yeah.
No.
That makes no sense.
If you match a number, you have to make a two train. Two train. Two. And sometimes you're like, I'm going to throw a 2 in even though I know I'm going to lose because I want to be on the train and it's fun. That is Fuji Flash. One of the funnest games in the entire world. Jeff, talk about the next one.
Next one's new.
It's
new to us. New to the world. Just came out.
That's true.
It's called Flip 7. Flip 7 is a straight push your luck game with a bunch of different cards that can break rules in the game. And you're just trying to race for points. Yeah. Sounds ridiculous. It's so fun to basically peer pressure people into continuing to push their luck.
It's fun to do this. Hit me.
Yeah. It is very fun to say hit me. Basically, what you're trying to do, there's numbers from 1 to 12, 0 to 12, and you can't have the same number in front of you. Yeah. So if you get 2 12s, you busted. You busted. You don't score no points. Busted. There's like freeze cards. There's a bunch of different abilities. So fun. So
much fun. Excellent con game. Once again, you don't play this game silently.
A lot of these games are really good con games and are very dependent on not sitting quietly. Yeah. They invoke conversation around the table.
Yes, you need to have fun while you play the fun games. Exactly, Jeff. Next on the list is a bit different. This is like a bigger, it's a normal size box game. It's not necessarily like a party game. This is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. Every time that we play this game, we have a blast.
Yes.
Because basically, somebody around the table is the killer. And you're trying to figure out who it is and the weapons that they've used and all of that stuff. And you're lying the whole time. This game is just like, it's silly fun. And I do find that any game that has kind of like a hidden traitor or like that kind of like secret element where you're lying, they tend to be fun. Now, they're not fun for everybody because some people don't have fun lying. Yeah. To their friends.
If you don't like that, then
if you don't like that, you might not like this one. But this one,
well, you probably wouldn't. I wouldn't say it's. I don't say it's mine. I would say
very fun.
If you don't like lying, you're not going to like this game.
Yeah, this game.
Well, you said mine.
Well, I don't know you. I don't know what
you're
all about. Gotta be clear. You're right. It's fun to be clear. So, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. We've never not had a good time playing this game. And I don't know that we've ever played this game with somebody who's like,
I mean, to be fair, we've only played it with people that we know also really like this game.
We only play games with fun people most of the time.
Next up, we have our first dexterity game, which are always inherently a good time.
Correct.
I don't know if I've played a dexterity game like this that I haven't had a good time with.
No, correct.
And that is Nekojima, or Nikojima, whatever. Nekojima is a dexterity game where you are trying to build power poles and not have the power lines, which are string, and the poles are wooden dowels. You're not allowed to have the electrical pole
line.
The electrical wires touching each other. But not only do you have to do that, there's placement rules and stuff. You also have to hang cats off the electrical wire, and they can make things topple over. It's basically like, if you're out, you're out. The game ends, everyone else wins. There's a cooperative version of this game. It's just super silly fun. Any dexterity game is going to be a blast, in my opinion. One of my favorite gaming moments in my life was Jamie, our friends Ben and Sarah, and Daniel were playing this game. I was not. And I came into the room as they were playing it, and Ben was placing his poles. And I yelled, "Ben!" And he
knocked everything over. There's something specifically, it's dexterity games I find are always fun, but specifically when you need to be very still, or you have the element where something's about to fall down, because it's like everybody is sitting like,
and like things start wobbling and people are like, whoa!
Exactly. The next game is straight up a party game, and that's called That's Not a Hat.
That's not a hat.
That's not a hat. This is a hat. That's not a hat. This game looks like nothing.
It does.
It's just a little pink box with like a pine cone or pylon. I thought pylons were called pine cones there for a second. And all you're doing is your cards are face down and you're kind of passing cards around, gifting them, saying this is a hat. And then you, as the receiver, can say, that's not a hat. And push it back. Or flip. You have to flip it over.
And if you're right, the other person loses a point.
Yes.
Or a card.
Yeah.
And then if you're wrong, you lose a card. Or you're
exactly.
Right or
now this game is the most fun when you play with a big group of people.
Because it's memory based as well.
Exactly. So you might have a card and you're passing around, but things can get kind of like, they can move, new cards get added, and you can be so sure that what you have is not the thing or is the thing, and you could be totally wrong. And it's just like a raucous.
There's also a little bit of lying in this too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's super, super fun and silly.
Next up, we have our first drawing game, which again are
I think it's the only one.
Also great. So not even just this one. I mean, there's lots of great drawing games, but we've chosen Doodle Dash because it's got a real-time element to it that makes it increasingly fun, wherein you're trying to draw things effectively so people can guess what you've drawn, but you also want to do it quickly.
Yes.
Because the quicker you grab things in the middle, the more points you're going to score, etc., etc., etc. But it's just basically a real-time drawing game, and it is hilarious to see someone try and draw a cat quickly. Because my problem with drawing games is I'm not a good drawer.
Right.
Why I love Doodle Dash is because it's not about being a good drawer.
No.
It's about
being quick,
relaying the information as basic as possible, but with enough information that they know what you're drawing.
Yeah.
And it just ends up being hysterical to see what people come up with.
Because all the drawings are bad.
And then it's like, if it's a cat and the first person shows it to you and you're like, what is that? It looks like a sausage. And it's just like, it's a cat. And it's like...
Yeah. It's, of all of the drawing games, I think this is the funnest one because of that element. Yeah. You don't need to be good at it. And even if you are a good drawer, you're not going to be a good drawer in this game because you have to draw very quickly if you want to get more points. It's great. Then we have, in my opinion, Max from Table Nuts' opinion, I don't know, maybe about your opinion, the ultimate party game.
I've come around on it. I wouldn't say it's the... Yeah, it might be.
I think
just because you don't even need to own the game. You can just make your own game.
Exactly. And that is Monikers or Time's Up, whichever version that you prefer.
Or just pieces of paper in a bowl.
Yeah, the first time that we played this game,
it was Fishbowl.
It was Fishbowl. Yeah, people just write it and you do it. So monikers is straight up party game. There's 3 rounds. The first round, everybody's trying to get you to guess what word is on the card. You can say whatever you want. Second round, you get to use one word for people to guess what's on the card. And the third round is charades.
Yep.
So it's just...
and you're cycling the same cards over and over again. So like the first round where you guess a word, you're going to have information later on because that word's going to come up in the charades.
Exactly. And it's really funny because a lot of the words are like, how do you act this out? Like we, in a game with Max, it was one of our favorite games. We had Morgan Freeman and another card that was Morgan Freeman as president.
Yeah.
And so how do you act out Morgan Freeman? So for Morgan Freeman, we stood still. Morgan Freeman as president, we did this.
Yeah, we got it. And so now anytime we do that around Max, he'll be like, Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman as president.
Exactly. It's so much fun. Now, if you aren't a fan of something like charades, you might not enjoy this. Like our friend Kenny likes the first 2 rounds, but doesn't love the third round because he doesn't like to act stuff out. Totally fair. But it is, I think, a fantastic party game. Agreed. So much fun.
Next up, we have a herd mentality, I guess, was the original version of this game.
Yeah.
Called Green Team Wins. And effectively, all you're trying to do in this game is guess a correct answer off of prompts. Not that you might think is right, but that you think the most people around the table are going to think is correct.
Yes.
For example, one of the most notorious ones of this game that we have an example of, courtesy of our friends over at the Brothers Murph, go check them out. We were all playing this game, and mustard came up. Yeah. The prompt was blank mustard. Everyone around the table wrote honey.
Honey mustard.
Which a normal human being would do.
Correct.
Nick and Mike wrote yellow.
Gross. I
hate
mustard.
Makes no sense to me.
Doesn't make any sense.
So anyone that got the honey in that instance would flip to the green team and score a point. The longer you're on the green team, the more points you're going to score. So the more things you get right. If you get it wrong, you flip back over to the orange team.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's great. It's just such a fun time because this one also invokes a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, we still talk about it now. This was like 2 years ago. Why would you put yellow instead of honey? And like, it's this whole thing. Next up, we have a racing betting game that is called Ready, Set, Bet. Now, Ready, Set, Bet is a John D. Clare game, so we already love it.
The next 2 games are John D. Clare.
Yeah, this one and the next one. But this one gets people like just out of their seats, cheering, really excited because you're betting on different horses and there's almost a real-time element. Because you're rolling dice, you're moving the horses, you have somebody acting as like the announcer.
Or there's an app.
And it's kind of chaotic. And it's a lot of fun.
It's like being at a horse race.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Another one that plays great with a few more people. Like we've never played it at 2 and I would never. I don't even know if you can.
Yeah.
But you want it minimum 4 or 5 people.
You want a big group, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, next up, another John D. Clare game. We wanted to not only have like party-esque games on this list, so we tried to think of some games that were more traditional board games.
Sure, yeah.
And our first one, I think, in that realm is Cubitos. Cubitos is a dice push your luck racing game. And it also invokes a ton of conversation around the table because ultimately you're rolling dice and you're going to be busting or not and moving your character around this racetrack. And it's just silly, nonsensical fun. All the dice have asymmetrical characters they can be essentially because all of the dice in this game are individual characters. And it's just crazy. Like it's crazy. People will have the most ridiculous roll and move halfway across this racetrack and then don't move again for 3 more turns because they keep busting. It's just silly, nonsensical racing fun.
And it's so colorful. It's just fun. It's cheese wearing pants. Super fun.
Yep.
Love it. Next on the list is Dice Miner. And there's a very specific, I think dice rolling in general is fun, which is another reason why Cubitos is fun. There's a very specific thing that happens in Dice Miner that I think is hilarious.
Cheers.
I laugh every time. And if you have a little beer mug, you can cheers. And we do that. We go, cheers.
We need to explain what that means.
Cheers.
In Dice Miner, if you have the beer token on your dice, you can basically roll it to someone else and give
them a die.
You give them the dice and you get to do a special action, effectively.
Yeah.
But in our group, whenever you do that, you have to say cheers.
Cheers.
Just like that, and then you roll it towards them. And it's one of Jamie's favorite things to do in gaming.
I think it's so much fun. I just think in general, like I said, dice rolling is really fun. Dice Miner, you're basically like making a dice pool from dice off of a mountain.
Like dice drafting, set collection.
Exactly, with
kinda.
a little bit of cheese. And it's it's fun. The first time we
Dice
played
Miner
it, we loved it.
Dice Miner is incredible. It's an incredible board game. All right, next up we have a game we played last year for the first time at Level Up.
Level Up.
And is Flip Ships. Flip Ships is an incredibly fun game where you are effectively flipping your ship tokens onto a incoming horde of aliens. Think of like
Asteroid.
No, Galaga. That sort of situation where aliens are going to be moving down. You're trying to flick your ships onto the aliens in order to do damage to them. There's also a big box at the top, which is the mothership. So you can flick your tokens into the mothership in order to do damage to the mothership. It is just silly fun. You can upgrade your ships and get new ships, and they all have special abilities they can do. It is so fun, and is definitely one of my best, most favorite gaming moments of 2024.
Agreed.
Was playing that with our friends.
From the Discord.
Ben, Sarah, Daniel, and there is
Schweinbub.
Marcus. There might have been other people there, but
we had a great time.
We were all cheering and hooting and hollering, and people were like, "What are you guys playing?"
It was designed by our friend Kane.
And it's designed by our friend Kane Klenko. It's just, I love those games that you play and you're so kind of like rambunctious and wrapped up, and everyone around you at the convention is like, what are they doing?
Yes.
And then it's like, I want to play that. Like, that's so fun.
And nobody is inherently good at this game.
No.
Like, it's hard to like flick and aim stuff. So when you get it to like where you want it to go, it's like a big moment, and it's really fun. Next up, of course, we have Nana, but I'm very specifically going to say Christmas Nana because it adds an element of chaos. So basically in Nana, it's almost like Gamers Go Fish, basically, right? Because you're asking other people for certain cards that they have, and then you're trying to collect sets. Now in Christmas Nana, there are certain cards that if you collect a set of them, they have a little gift on them, and then you have to take your hand and pass it to the player next to you. So you have some information about what they have, but that hand is going to continue getting passed around, and it's just like, it's so much fun. It's so chaos. This is another game we take with us everywhere we go. We never go anywhere without Nana.
I just need to throw a shout out because Nick Brothers Murph taught us this game and introduced us to this game.
That's correct.
And he always gets sassy with me when we don't shout that out.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a sassy boy. So just a quick shout out to Nick at
Shout out to
Brothers
Nick
Murph
at the
for
Brothers
introducing
Murph.
us to Nana.
I would like to shout out Nick, but not Mike. Because
Correct.
Mike did not introduce us to this game.
It was specifically Nick. Next up, we have another dexterity game a la Nekojima. It's a small tin game that if you watch our 24-hour game-a-thon, you saw us annihilate that game.
And it is 4 in the morning.
It is Tinder Blocks. Tinder Blocks is an incredible dexterity game where you are taking a pair of tweezers and you are grabbing tiny little blocks like this one and adding it to a little fireplace. You have to stack them. You have to keep going up until basically the thing falls over. And Jamie and I successfully, at about 4 a.m., completed Tinder Blocks. All of the blocks, all of the wood, all of the everything in one stack.
It was insane
and you can
because,
go watch it.
Well, you can't remember.
Oh my God, you can't watch it.
You can't.
We have proof of it, though.
We have some proof.
If you need proof, it is in the Discord.
Yes, there's pictures.
People witnessed this.
It was...
Tinder Blocks is incredible.
Probably one of the most iconic moments of our entire existence.
Yeah. If I died tomorrow, I'd be content.
Yeah.
Because I defeated Tinder Blocks. I just went with it at the end. I was like, I'm not getting this.
Herb liquor. All right. Next up, we have La Boca. La Boca was introduced to us from Rodney and his wife Christy, and they showed us this game, which is an old game where you're trying to build blocks. Competing against somebody across from you, and you each...
No, you're cooperatively across, but you have two different...
Yes. You're cooperative, but you each have a different thing that you need to be able to see with the blocks that you're building, and you're both trying to build something different. So you're trying to go as fast
but it works.
as you can.
You both can build your side of the card with
Yes.
the blocks.
Exactly.
It is possible to do it.
Yes.
There's just a very specific orientation that these blocks need to be in for both people to complete their objective.
And you're trying to do it very quickly, and you're also kind of yelling. It's like, no, you can't
No, this has to go here. This has to go here.
Rodney and Jeff had a very quick, very successful round.
It was like
of this
10.
game.
I think it was like 13 seconds.
It was wild. Yeah, and it's just so much fun. And this is an older game that I know probably not a lot of people have heard about.
I think they've remade it though.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's called La Boca. I think there's like a different version.
Anyways, it's a great time.
I could be making that up.
But once again, we gotta be in the mood to play it, because I feel like we showed it to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think so too. Next up is a game that nobody should have a bad time playing, and if you do, you are playing it completely wrong. And shame on you. That is Camel Up. We've talked about this game a ton on this channel. Camel Up is a betting game, not a racing game, even though Jamie thinks it's a racing game. It is a betting game where you are betting on camels, and these camels are crazy.
They're racing.
Ultimately, what you're going to be doing is, on your turn, you're going to be placing bets on which camel is going to cross the finish line first, or you're going to be rolling dice to move those camels. Now, where this is interesting is in the updated version of this game, in the 2nd edition, there are 2 camels that are going against the group.
Crazy camels.
There's a black camel and a white camel, and they're going against the grain. They're going in the opposite direction. What's nuts about this game is camels can be stacked on top of each other, and they move in the direction of whatever camel is on the bottom. So you can get landed on one of those black or white camels and start moving in the opposite direction. And ultimately, what you're doing is trying to, again, bet first on who you think is the winner of the game, of the race, or the loser, or both. And there's multiple ways you can like bid on things. You can like place tokens out on the board to help camels move along. And it's got this pyramid thing.
It poops
and
out dice.
Every time you use the pyramid to poop out a dice, you need to yell,
"Camel up! Camel up!"
It's a blast.
It's so much fun. We even we once played this
asynchronously.
Not asynchronously, but what do you just live, but distant.
Oh yeah, not asynchronously.
With Jenna and Francis over at the Board Game Garden during the 24-hour marathon our first year. And it worked that way. So if you have friends at a distance, you both own the game, you could do it.
You just basically need one person to control the board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Next up is a new love from this year, another one that Rodney introduced us to, and that is Dice Town. We loved this game. We had so much fun playing this game that we played it again. It's the only game we played twice at GaggleCon, and then we immediately bought it, and we have showed it to everyone that we could. We played it at BGGCon. We played it with Ben and Sarah. We played it with Max and Danielle.
It's come up in every visit we've had here, and every convention we've been to this year.
Yes, exactly. So what Dice Town is, it's kind of like a poker style dice rolling game. So you have a cup of dice, you roll the dice, and they have like card figures on them, 9, 10, Jack, King, Queen, Ace. And you are trying to build out a poker hand. You can save a die or you re-roll. If you want to save more than one die, you pay some money. And then each section of the board is going to say whoever has the most 9s gets a gold nugget. Whoever has the most 10s gets the money from the bank. Whoever has the most queens can steal a card, like that kind of thing. And it is just chaos, and it's so much fun.
And I'll just quickly throw, because a lot of people might shy away from the poker. You do not need to know how to play poker.
You just need to know, do I have the most
It's just
9s?
kind of like poker AA themed. Poker-ish.
Well, the only really poker aspect of this is there's one section of the board that the best poker hand with dice.
But it shows you.
It's all right there for you. So I don't know anything about poker, and I love this game. This is like, we get loud, we get rambunctious, and if you're not going to play it that way, it might not be as fun for you. But the way we play it, it's a grand old time. We should bring this one to level up with us.
Probably should, next up, we have Go Nuts for Donuts.
The meanest game
This
in the
is
world.
a very specific level of enjoyment for me. So in Go Nuts for Donuts, you're basically just trying to draft cards into your but into your tableau. And all of those donuts score differently. Like, some are set collections, some are one-time victory points, some are negative points.
Yeah.
But how this works is there is a common market of cards 1 to 5, and you have cards 1 to 5 in your hand, and you're going to be secretly betting on 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 each round. If you tie with someone, so let's say Jamie and I both picked 1 to take the 1 card, we don't get to take anything.
Nobody gets
and the 1 card is gone. You basically have to be the only person that wants a specific card in order to get it. And the amount of times you will play this with someone and constantly pick the same card.
There's always one person in particular.
There is always one person that you will connect with. Even if there's 3 versions of one card that you both want, you will pick the same number. Guarantee it.
For me, it's Max.
And it's
Danielle.
It's not the most rambunctious, yelly type of game, but it is absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
When you are constantly picking the same number as someone else around the table.
Yeah.
You could end this game with no cards in front of you.
Nothing. Because you've matched the whole time.
And
it has happened to me.
It is so bonkers and funny.
Yep. Next up, we have Strike. And what did I say before? There's almost nothing funner than just chucking a butt ton of dice.
Yep.
Like you just take them and you just chuck them. And that's what you're doing in Strike. It's like a little dice battle arena. And you're just trying to be the last one.
With dice.
With dice.
Yep.
That's it. And you can people have strategies. I don't think they work. You can ping it so that you can knock dice over, and you're just trying to match the other dice that are in the arena so that you can...
You don't want to match.
You don't want to match.
If you match, they're gone.
If you match, they're gone. If you roll an X, they're gone. Right? It's just silly fun. Anybody can play this.
No. I'm wrong.
Yeah, if you match, you want to
matches.
match.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
If you match, you get them. But it's just anybody can take a fistful of dice and roll them.
The first time I played this game,
was PAX Unplugged,
our very first PAX Unplugged, and we went into the media room.
Yes.
And it was a small room.
Yeah.
There had to have been 10 people around the table that I was at playing this game, and everyone was just watching people play Strike. It just brings, another one of those games that just brings people around being like, what are you playing? Because everyone's like, ah! It's great.
It's great. So much fun.
Last but not least, we have Rhino Hero.
Pick your version.
There's multiple versions. There's a big Rhino Hero version, with jumbo pieces that you can play outside. There's Super Battle, which adds a little bit of extra elements to it. And then there's just the basic Rhino Hero, which is also still incredibly fun. Ultimately, in Rhino Hero, you are building a stack of card house, basically, and you're trying to take your little meeple and place it in without knocking everything over. It gets more and more difficult to add these cards up on the stack, and some platforms, so you're always going to place a platform and then place a card.
Yes.
And some of the platforms require 1 card, some of them require 2 cards, etc., etc., etc. And all you're trying to do is not knock your figure off, but there's also, you want to be on the top when things do get knocked down. So it's not just so far that you want to stack things, you also want your meeple to be as high up on the tower as possible when things do come tumbling down. Yeah. It is so fun. Anyone can play this game. Kids love this game. We've played it with friends, family. It's just nonsense fun.
It's great. It's so good.
I spit.
Yeah. We do prefer Super Battle.
Yeah.
Because that is one where everybody has a meeple. And in Rhino Hero Basic is so you're just building up. But Super Battle, you're building out and up. And there's monkey figures that people have to hang off and all of this stuff. It's just a great time. Okay. You do not need to be a child to enjoy this, but they would too. Okay. But those are the games that we think are the funnest games of all the games in all of the worlds. Okay? Yep. Not just this one, but all of them. We would love to know in the comments below, what is your best, funnest game? What's your best, funnest game? The game that you have the most fun playing? Because if we haven't played it, maybe we should try it. Basically, is what I'm saying here. But that is everything that we have for you today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games like any of the many that we mentioned today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
Hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Later days.
Now I have Lady Gaga stuck in my head. Let's have some fun. This beat is sick. I want to take a ride on your disco stick. Do you want to open all our Christmas presents now?
Yeah.
I really
Me too.
everything that I got you.
None of them are here, though.
They're not here yet.
I don't care.
Jeff and I have a really bad habit of like, this is the first year we've done Christmas. And
this is why we, I think,
this is why we had to stop. We haven't done like a real Christmas.
Well,
in
you
like
already
3
got
years.
like one of your big gifts.
Yeah, but you haven't gotten any. But our first Christmas together, we opened all of our gifts on December 10th.
It was early.
And the next year we made it like an extra week.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in 3 years, and now we got all these presents coming. And I'm just like, I just want to tell you what you got.
If you want to do that, I'm fine with it.
I want to do it. We don't even have them yet. Fuji Flash. What?
You might need a new die.
Why?
It's got a hole in it. That probably screws up your rolls.
Oh my god, a defective die.
Yeah, you definitely do.
What? How did that happen?
I'm
telling AJ. No, because what if this is the reason why I roll 2 stars a lot?
Maybe.
I just rolled a star. I would just roll 2 stars. And 2-star queen. 2-star queen. Jeff's had 2 Red Bulls and a coffee. He's still sleepy.